And he would take me to boards. He and I would go to boards. He always had this big Dutch Master cigar. He loved Dutch Master cigar. So when we were going to the racetrack, guess what was running? The Skeeters. Wayne McGuire, Harold Fryer,
Freddie. Now,
Those kids.
Harold is the one that I always talk about that we always remember because
He's a hoot.
He was, and them old big elbows sticking on the outside of the
I don't say he kept his elbows. He could have outplayed the tar.
He was a good sized dude too, and
But he just had a personality that nobody else had. Okay, he would rather rub you raw than to do anything. He'd rather do something. He'd throw candy up in the stands and all that good stuff, but he really he was a heck of a racer.
he was.
He was a heck of a racer.
He could make some colorful remarks.
I didn't know him. I can't take credit for knowing him. I knew of him, but I got to know Freddie and Bobby.
Freddie, I tell you what, he was getting started real good. Freddie could have been really great.
He was pretty good.
He was going good for a while.
I was in Louisiana one time.
Yes.
And this was years after it was hold up, Well, Freddie went down there and evidently drove for somebody down there.
He did.
I went to, my brother-in-law was stationed down there.
Yeah.
And he said, you come down here, I'll take you to races. I
Yeah.
said, okay. So we got down to see him and we went to the race. So, and Freddie come walk right up there too. Of course, I knowed him from Chattanooga, being around here and coming over here running now. And he run good down there.
Oh,
He said he was driving for somebody down there, and he stayed down there for several
He
years.
was tough to beat. He or Jody, those two cats right there was tough to beat. Then a guy, Friday Heisler, came in the picture.
Well, I remember him real well. Yeah.
And so, I've got a little story about that cat too. And
I want to hear that one now. I've got to hear this one. Before you get in,
you're gonna like it.
I've got to hear this one because I liked old Friday a whole lot.
He was a real race
I never
car
got to
fan.
meet him. Never got to meet him.
He was a racer's racer.
He was a racer, and he was so close. He was so close.
He's so close to hitting the big time.
Yeah, because he and Junior, was got to be big buddies. He and Junior shared a lot of info. And Junior helped him a lot, from what I understand. But my deal was, now this is way. This is back. I had a buddy at church that was an estate seller. Okay, so he'd hire police officers to do security at his estate sales, to direct traffic, stuff like that, get in and out. Well, he got the contract to do Friday Hassler's brother's house. They live next door to each other. Okay, you with me? Friday had a big barn out back. Well, they went over and went through this barn at his brother's house. I'll take it back. It was his brother's house. Well, they had everything tagged, everything, so I go over on a Saturday morning, I'm early, just looking at stuff, see what they got. And you ain't gonna believe what I found, what I run across. Jeff was the man's name that did this estate sale. There was a racing wheel and tire laid up against this cross tie. An M&H race tire, if you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, we do.
I asked him, you should. I asked, where'd you get this wheel and tire? He said, we got it out of the barn. I said, Friday's barn? Yeah. I said, how much? I bought it. I've got it in my shop.
Good.
I get $10 for it. I wouldn't take $1,000. Bobby Fryer has tried to beg me.
I was going to offer you 20.
Yeah. Bobby Fryer has begged me to sell it to him. I said, nope. And I took it to a reunion that Richard, oh my goodness, Richard, dang, I can't think of Richard's last name off the bat, but he, back in the day, he owned the car that Ned Jarrett drove, that car, Ford. Richard, oh my gosh, he owned a Town and Country restaurant in Chattanooga, okay? But anyway, he owned the car, right, and for when Ned Jarrett drove for him. So anyway, he was having reunions. He had a lot of memorabilia, a lot of stuff from the past, So we were all gathered, and I took this wheel and tire with me. And I put it out of the back of the truck. And Bobby Fryer was there, Freddie, and oh man, there's a bunch of guys in there. And I come rolling that tire up the road right there. And Bobby looked at me, he said, "Where'd you get that tire?" I said, "Friday Hester's tire." He said, "You're kidding me." I said, "No, sir. I can promise you this is Friday Hester's wheel and tire he took off from one of his modifieds." And he had the old M&H Race Master slipping. And so Bobby told me, he said, "Well, let me educate you a little bit on what this tire, what it's about." This tire had cut marks on some trims at an angle. And he said, "Let me tell you how they did that." He said, Friday and Harold, all of them, when they go like to Gaston and places out Birmingham, they'd take their tires off to the motel. And they'd take a hacksaw. And they'd cut those river strips. I said, "Are you kidding me?" Nope. That's how they did it. So he said, what do you want for that tire?" I said, "It ain't for sale." He said, "Yeah, come on, you guys. It ain't for sale, Bob." So,
If it was mine, my heirs might sell it, but they wouldn't be a price.
well, I'd like, you know where I'd like for it to go? I'd like for it to go into a museum.
That's where it needs to be. Really.
But I want it to be a local museum. But I don't know if we're ever going to get any kind of a type of automotive racing museum. But that's the deal I know about.
That's one of Mike's dreams someday have too. Mike,
it would be great.
I've got to say, I'm real proud of Mike and Steve, what they've tried to do with this Southern Motorsports to create some history and have people like you and the ones we've had to share with people. I know there are a lot of people out there that's heard names over the years, heard their dads or some other relatives or whatever talk about people. And with this, what we try to do, they become real. Those names really.
You know, when y'all first came, Mike or y'all organized this Hall of Fame deal, local?
This was Mike Luna's. This was actually his branch. Him and Steve. I think Steve Winslet might have came up with a name for it, but it was really Mike's.
I think it's really cool. You know, I think every racer wants to be remembered in some way.
It is nice.
But there, a lot of guys. I use myself as an example in many ways. You know, they're like me. I've been racing over 40 years, and I'm still doing it. I'm still trying to do it, and I love it. When I bolt getting on that race car.
Hey, I hear one start and get goose pimples. To this day, hearing
I'll go out my shop.
It gives me goose pimples when I hear one fire up.
I tried to quit, and I could quit, no problem. I had no problem, I hadn't even thought about it. But if I was out there in that garage and that wind was blowing this way and that track over yonder, they fired them things up, I'll guarantee you if I had a walkover, I'd be over here.
I quit one time. I quit one time and sold out. And I swore then I'd never do that again. So I've got a late model, I've got an open wheel, and I've got a sprint car. And, you know, I'm going to sell a sprint car.
A sprint car. If anybody that took a ride in one that needs to.
Well, I bought this thing to run some nostalgia races with it. And after I got it home and it's a pretty nice car. It's a J&J car. It's like a 96 J&J. And it's complete. It's complete minus motor. Oh, it's complete. It's a nice, but I can't get in. I can get in it, but the pedal. If you've ever looked inside to see how the gas pedal and brake pedal are in the car, it won't work for me. I've got to redo it or something. But you know,
they set straight down. The
legs straight up, and
you
your legs
straight up,
yeah.
and your legs are down almost behind
You know
you.
what pushing one down means in a sprint car.
Oh yeah. Well, you don't fail them hardly. You're wide open.
Yeah.
And my legs, I've had both knees replaced, and so it's affected my leverage. With my feet, where my legs are like this, because that's how you sit in those things.
You ever get hurt really bad in a race car?
Yeah, I did.
And what was the deal on that?
First race of the season. It was a big race. I think it was 2007 or 8. 8, I think. We went up to get ready for this big race, and I had a good car. We went up a few weeks earlier than that in practice, got some good seat time. So we were lined up to go out and practice, get warmed up, to get ready to qualify for that night, and we went on a racetrack, and this guy, matter of fact, he was one of Mark Martin's buddies. His son, I don't remember what their names were, but they put him in a car. He was like, I think 16, 17 years old, never drove a race car. Put him out there on this big track, asphalt track. And I'll never forget, we were going down the back
That's a
straight.
fast track.
I'll never forget coming out of 2, going down the back straightaway. I got about halfway down the straightaway. Getting into 3, this cat locked the rear brakes up in the car and spun the car out. Was spinning. I mean, when he locked the brakes up, I mean, it smoked. Just, I knew I was in trouble trying to miss him because I was probably running 110, 120 then. And I thought, well, I've got to do something. And so I chose to go high, try to go around him. And as I got up to him on the outside, and he was down the bottom, when he spun around, he'd come up the racetrack and hit me right in the door. And drove me in the wall. I mean, I hit the wall so hard, it knocked me out. And then as I came down the racetrack, he hit me again, they said. When he came down, he hit me again. And I sat down on the apron of the racetrack, and I remember the track people coming up the car. And I woke up, I seemed to be okay. That's the hardest I'd ever hit in my life. But we were running, thing about safety, what people don't realize in asphalt racing, and dirt racing too, but on asphalt racing, but what took the lick is a lot of people don't realize, if you're, well, I ain't gonna do that, but a perimeter car, you know what a perimeter car is? A perimeter chassis car? Perimeter chassis car is where when you come back off the snout and both door rails kick out to the doors and go back.
Like
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Okay. So we're dirt now. We're all running offset cars. Okay. It's called an offset car.
Right.
Well, that car we were running these called late model stocks, and they're perimeter cars. Well, that frame, just like a cup car, the big cars, that's what takes the lick.
That's why
Hit the
they're
concrete
like
wall.
they are. That's why they're designed
That,
like they are.
no, that's a poor design.
Yeah.
It's a poor design because,
They were there to take the lick, but
it don't take the lick.
It makes a sudden lick.
It's
It
a
makes
sudden,
solid.
what takes the
solid
lick is the driver.
Yeah.
That's what got me. That's what got me, was that frame. If I'd have been in my offset car, later on, I built a Port City offset car, a fiberglass car. And if I'd have been in this offset car, I wouldn't have got hurt probably. But the frame, you hit so hard where the frame, yeah, it doesn't absorb the lick. It takes the lick, but you absorb the lick. And I had a very
No,
bad concussion.
you ain't got a crush point there.
You don't have a crush point.
It's solid.
There's nothing to give. Thank you. That's exactly right. There's no crush point.
racing have went through different phases like that. They would build them like that
For a while.
to survive the car, but then they're back.
It's
I
class-
think in the right direction now,
It's-
making them absorb.
It's the class that they design these cars to run in, and then they're called late model stocks. Yeah. They're still running them. That's what Mark had up there when I went up there and started helping him on his car. He was lost. But anyway, it hurt. That ended my asphalt career because it took me almost a year to get over that wreck, the concussion. And to this day, it's right here. To this day, I can stress, or if I get a headache, it's usually right here. This is where I had the concussion. This is where the brain.
Well, you get hit hard enough too, like that. You may not even be knocked out, but you can't see for a few minutes. You could hit hard enough that something. I guess it does something to your head inside, but you ain't really knocked out, but you can't see.
Well, it's the brain. It affects the brain, and your brain is in a cloud of liquid, and so it had forced the brain against the skull. So that's how you get a concussion. What I learned, and so I don't know how I did it. it took us a while to get the race car loaded up, because it was destroyed. I mean, it was just, we finally got it to where it would roll. And of course, I had a winch and a trailer, so I had a big trailer and stuff, so we winched that baby up in the trailer, and we come to Daisy, and I drove back home. I didn't realize how bad I was, okay?
But it
And I
took
started
2 or 3 days or whatever.
Well, next day, I started spitting up blood.
Yeah.
And I spit up blood for 2 weeks. And I got down in my basement. I took off a couple of weeks of work. I couldn't work. Sure couldn't carry a gun. You know, I mean, it'd be too dangerous.
I wish I could remember that other nickname of yours. It's not Hollywood, it's something else, and I've been trying to sit here and think of what it is, but Mike told me.
Wasn't Barney 5, was it?
No, it wasn't Barney.
I started saying I've been called that
It
too.
was a lot better than that.
Was it?
Did you, in 1968 was the last year that around here they run dirt for a while.
68?
Yeah, it's old track. We went to Nashville, all he did, and all we did, and all of us went to Nashville, and run 69, 70 at Nashville and around there. Well, that's when we got asphalt, first time we'd ever run asphalt. So, we got into it, started out on Tuesday night, then we went to Saturday night, it got big, everybody got a little faster, better stuff and all. So I went to, and I'd heard about this car, I went to, there's a man in Alabama named Red Sharp, you ever heard of him?
Yeah, yes.
I bought the 65 Chevelle that Friday Hasselred drove for him. And that's the car that we had. And then TJ Smith got the 57 Chevrolet they had down there.
That was a nice car.
Yeah, because they went back down there with him, got hit, and then they had no appointment down there too. But the Chevelle,
But I remember two of them when me and Don Hobbs first started. We would bump. We'd be out there racing, and we was in the habit of bumping each other. They called us up to the office one night and explained to us, boys, this is not a quarter-mile track to run.
this ain't Saturday night track.
You get killed down here, and as me and Don was coming back down the step, he said, Rick, how are we going to handle this? He said, how do you not bump on a track?
I know it.
Like, but they took us up there and warned us about not doing that.
That was our experience with asphalt. And we went then, actually got the Chevelle. In the meantime, I got married too. That's
That puts a different perspective.
That puts a different
on
perspective on the racing there.
Yeah.
So, we had went to, and run NASCAR, and went to, Macon, Georgia one. So Don had one, we had one, and,
A long trip.
We moved around a little bit.
yeah, we
I
got,
really enjoyed that.
yeah, and, then,
His
like
daddy
it
used
when
to
you're
tell
young.
us where I should have stayed at.
he done a lot better. I swear he was just as smooth as he could be on that asphalt. He was
I
smooth.
loved that
Yeah, I love
asphalt
that
racing.
When you take somebody off of dirt and put them on asphalt, when they're used to run down there and doing this, that steering wheel, sling that back end out, that don't work on
You don't
asphalt.
want to
Hey,
do that.
that old half-mile fairground track, I really did like it, because it was almost like you had hung the car loose when you go into the corner. It was like it hung itself up there, right at the top of
Yeah.
it, and it was like it just fell right off of it when you come off of it. I really did like that.
We after people found out I had that car, the Friday Hassler, everybody wanted to buy it. And I'd had it a year or something. And I needed other things besides a race car at the time. But like I said, I just got married now, and I wound up selling that thing. I took the motor back out of it because they didn't have a motor when I bought it. And I sold that thing for over twice what I give for it.
Did you really?
And Daddy told me, he said, he didn't like it. He didn't like it because down in Nashville, and Randall will tell you that, when you went that turn down there in Nashville, you could not see no further than the hood on that car. You couldn't see from here to
You
that
didn't
table
see
in front of
around that track.
and Daddy said, I ain't running to 150 mile an hour and I can't see the hood, the end of the hood on the thing. And he didn't like it, so old Walk out want to buy it. He told me, he said, your car's fixing to get tore up. He said, right now, it looks good, and he said, and I thought, I need the money too. So I sold it. That's when we got out of the asphalt. Well, I took the motor and put back an old 55 car that we had to run on dirt, and I was gonna drive it. Well, Dave was gonna go with me to show me how to do it. I never did even get in it.
Oh,
Amazing.
that's good.
Well, listen, for all of you folks out there that wondered what we talked about when we weren't doing podcasts, it looks like somebody's left the camera running. So
Have you really?
This is actually, I guess, what we talk about when we're not doing podcasts.
Yeah.
So if somebody shares this, we thank you for watching.